Hi folks, this is all the fruit. Hi folks, this is all the fruit. Today I'm gonna be foraging. Well, today the next 3 days I'm gonna be foraging in Bako National Park in Sarawak, Malaysia, Borneo. Bako is one of the most famous places here in Sarawak because the people here are incredibly clever. They found out if they don't hunt the local wildlife but make a national park, everybody will flock here to see the local animals. So inside the national park, the animals have not been hunted for over 60 years. So they are not tame, they are vicious. They know that they are above you in the food chain. So everybody tries to steal your food, the monkeys, the pigs and so on. But there is some nice vegetation to see in the park. Also there are some nice people. Also you're gonna pay through your nose for the boat, no matter what you do. So let's see what nice animal stuff we can find here. By the way, there's not gonna be any foraging. I brought like 10 kilograms of fruits and other stuff with me because in this park we are not allowed to eat anything. Going with my boat through the mangrove. I think some of those trees are the mangrove apples. You see them? Also, those swimming around here, too many crocodiles. Let's see what tasty stuff we're gonna find, but not taste around here. I could have avoided the super expensive boat. There are some sneaky trails over those hills. Actually, the National Park Center is not too far away, but the only official way, if you want to stay overnight in the park, is to come by boat and once again to pay through your nose. For 125 ringgit I can eat and drink morning, noon and evening for 1 week. What I spend just for estuary, the water might be nice and calm. If you look a little bit outside, the sea is actually often quite bumpy. Some places you can see quite well preserved jungle here, but I've seen some pretty poor plateaus up there, where I'm sure that the jungle has been cut down and never managed to recover. So the national park is basically a mosaic of different types of vegetation, which makes it more interesting, by the way. Well, of course I missed the huge waves. We were basically flying at some time. Ah well. Just imagine the bumpy part of the ride. Oi. Nah, this is not really flying. It was a lot more fun before. Nice little place. Reminds me of Thailand. Some of the islands in Thailand. Unfortunately, no swimming here. There's too many crocodiles and too many stones actually. The recommendation is don't even get close to the water. It's not like in the Everglades where you can see dozens of crocodiles and dozens of alligators in one place. But the alligators will also leave you alone and you can approach them for selfies and everything. Here, the saltwater crocodile population is a lot more dispersed, and most important of all, you do not see them. They see you. And they see you not as a threat, not as a hunter, not as competition. They see you just as dinner. I've walked and waded and almost swam among tons of alligators in Florida. Back then I was young and stupid, now I'm old and stupid. I never had any trouble, but around here, only one crocodile, only one huge saltwater crocodile is enough to make you his lunch. The wildlife is indeed spectacular. Look at this beautiful giant flying lemur up there. And also, oh yeah, there was just a whole herd of bearded pigs. Well, they are gone, but I'm sure gonna meet them often again. Somebody here has set up a monkey feeding station. This is a mistake you do only once in Bako. Lots of nice curry and rice for foraging, but they are expert foragers here. They are small and furry, and they're gonna bite you if you have any food. A lot of nice fruit trees planted around the extensive headquarters area. I think most of them are some type of Garcinia, some mangosteen relative. But since there are no fruits, trouble recognizing them. Also, if you listen, a lot of birds and insects. That's very important for the fruit forager. If you hear a lot of birds and insects, you are in a good quality, quite well preserved rainforest, even though it might look like suburbia to you here. A boring secondary forest will have a lot less animal sounds. So the first thing when looking for a good place for fruit foraging is listening to the animal sounds. The animal sounds sound promising. However, I don't see a single fruit on any of the trees. Don't despair, folks. The local wildlife is not gonna starve because tourists are an all year round crop. So they gonna feed you whether they want or not. Pandanus or exploding planet fruit. Really nice huge fruits. Around 1,000 species, mostly in the Indo-Pacific. A couple of them are even quite tasty. As you can see, the local wildlife likes to chew on the keys. Actually, the pandanus is a tree with countless uses, and maybe the most important use are the edible buds. So it's not the giant watermelon-sized red fruits which are the biggest treat, but the buds. There's actually a story from northern Australia, from tropical areas, where an expedition of white men, basically there were scoundrels and criminals paid by the British government. Basically all people paid by the British government were scoundrels and criminals, and they were shooting the local people and wildlife indiscriminately until they ran out of wildlife to shoot and slowly starved. They starved in one of the most nutrient dense areas in Australia. The locals were watching them from afar and were wondering why those people starve in this area full of food. And one food they could have used to survive without any trouble are the big pandanus buds. However, as I said, those people liked shooting the natives, and so the natives abstained from telling them how to eat this stuff and watched while all the white people died from starvation. The Indian tulip tree, the Spesia populnea, it has nothing to do with tulips. It's not closely related to them at all. It is one of the most important trees in the Indo-Pacific. Actually, thousands of years before the Romans or the Chinese, or later people like the British and the Russians and the Americans conquered giant empires, the Australasian people used this thing to conquer basically half of the globe. all the tropical and subtropical areas of the Indo-Pacific, which is more or less half of the world. Yeah, most of it was sea. And so in order to conquer it, those little black people on their little boats made from one single tree, well, actually not one single tree, they had a second tree right next to the boat. And the second tree allowed those canoes actually to sail the ocean for hundreds of kilometers. The Thespesia populnea wood is very light, so it was light enough so that it wouldn't get submerged by the waves, but it was heavy enough so that it didn't get lifted up in the air. Also the bark of this tree was very important for fibers to bind the canoe with the second trunk. So some people say the Austronesians wouldn't have conquered more or less half of the globe thousands of years ago if it wasn't for the specific tree, because no other plant in the whole region provided the exact same resources as this one. Well, since we're a fruit channel here and not a canoe building channel, you can actually eat the young leaves, the young stems, the flowers, the young fruits and so on. It's quite a nice plant for foraging. Like most Malvaceae, it's kind of edible. Most Malvaceae will not provide you with a lot of nutrients, except if you go to the subsection which includes the durian genus, which is like the main staple in many areas of Southeast Asia. If you think, bingo, the ground underneath those trees is covered with hundreds of big fruits, think again. We have wild boars everywhere around here. Wild boars eat basically everything. Why did they not eat the sea mango? Sea mango sounds like something nice and edible, doesn't it? Well, the other name of this fruit, those are already rotten, but when they are still fresh, they have a beautiful red and green color. They look like a nice big ripe mango. Their other name is suicide apple, and they are one of the major means for suicide and also for assassination in South and Southeast Asia. That's why, folks, not everything that looks nice and beautiful is actually edible. Stay away from the sea mango. The name is really misleading. There are a couple fruits hanging there. They are still unripe, still don't have their reddish hue. But yeah, stay away from them. I think there is even a sign which says planted by Kuching Specialist Hospital. I think those people are really concerned about getting a lot of new patients. Some jungle mango in the distance. Not sure what the species is, but I'm pretty sure it's a mango. However, no fruits. An Adonaishi tree. Those tend to be edible. Not all of them, but many of them. Oh, however, I don't see any fruits up there. Another species of pandanus. This one has leaves which are like up to 5 meters long. The leaves are also very valuable for making everything from baskets through roofs. So basically you cut off the butt, you eat the young part, and you use the leaves basically as your standard material for anything. One of the most common pandanus species was named Pandanus utilis, the useful pandanus, because it is really, or at least it was, a major resource for people in the tropical and subtropical Indo-Pacific. One of their main resources for everything from food to technical needs. This could be red salak, or at least some salak, or at least some other stemless swamp palm. There's red salak everywhere on the markets right now, so it seems to be in season, so we might be able to see some. Also, yeah. Before, they had ironwood, tons of ironwood, and the old trails, they last for many decades. But this is a new trail which they built recently. I think they built this even after I was here last time, and even after a couple years. it starts breaking down. Yeah, man, there is no material like old material. And here this looks a lot like a salak, like a snake fruit swamp. Yeah, see those vicious thorns on the palms? This is snake fruit. Pretty sure of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now clear Bernardo here. So some trees have signs, some trees have labels, others don't. But appreciate the label on those snake fruit. Here is a bunch of male flowers on one of those palm shrubs. They are not trees, they don't really have tall stems, although some have creeping stems. However, where are the fruits? Might be that the big wild boar population here is decimating them. Dactyrodus, this was, I think, another edible fruit. Also, look at this cliff there. Swiftlets, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think there is an old bleached giant honeycomb. What do you think, folks? Is this thing a giant honeycomb? Or maybe something else? And what are those big things hanging above it? I cannot zoom any more than that, sorry. This is what I was looking for. Durian hantu, one of the many species named ghost durian. Is it really Cariostenia borneensis? I downloaded the paper. I gotta check it. Well, the fruits, they sure look like durians. However, they are rock hard. Those here, they probably fell down from the tree many months ago, and they are still hard as rock. Let's see if there are a couple fresher ones around. Nope, not here, but I'll continue looking. By the way, folks, the water here is quite clean, but it's black water. Don't drink black water. And no, I'm not dissing the mercenary company, but I'm talking about actual black water. Here again, a Calistegia fruit. Those are incredibly hard, even with a parang or a saw. It's almost impossible to break them. Believe me, I've tried. I've tried to break some really old and rotten looking fruits and they almost broke my parang. Calistegia, those are durians on steroids. Huh. Look at that here. Oof. So there is where my wife beater is. So look at that. This is a young Calistegia which fell down. Already hard enough to use as a weapon. Here is one well-developed Calistegia fruit. The shape and size of a really nice football. And for our freedom-loving friends from the former 13 colonies, I'm talking about a football, not a hand egg. Not the thing you, for some reason, tends to call football. Look at this. This one fell off not long time ago, but before that it was probably hanging on the tree for months, dispersing its seeds. Yeah. If one of those falls on your head, your problems are over. It's crazy. The old boardwalk, it lasted probably longer than I'm alive. Then 4 years ago there was still the old ironwood boardwalk. So this horrible poisonous eternit stuff here is less than 5 years old and already breaking everywhere. They have hidden the remnants of the old boardwalk behind the trees to the left and to the right. I'm sure in 5 to 10 years they will destroy this new one and hide all this metal and all this horrible eternit stuff somewhere behind the trees again. So much work, so much money spent for filling the forest with toxic waste, And they will never recycle this. This will end up here in this national park, and it will end up there soon, because in 10 years this boardwalk will not be walkable anymore. Yeah, horrible stuff. Also here you see rubber tree fruits. You think this is a national park, a natural jungle, but from time to time, rubber tree leaves. I'm sure we'll see the fruits somewhere too. I think this is a national park, a natural jungle, but even here rubber trees were planted and of course not being used, but they do spread with their huge leaves. Here again a Calistegia borneensis. If I'm really lucky, oh yeah, here another big tree of Calistegia borneensis. If I'm really lucky, I'll be able to see a young unrotten fruit falling to the ground or fallen to the ground. You don't want to see them falling, because you shouldn't be around when they are falling. When they are falling, they are killing. Some little juggle fruit lying on the ground. No idea what this is. It looks similar to the Boacelum pit I found in a Kalimantan jungle. If you know what this is, folks, please comment. The skin is kind of a bit rough. Artocarpus glaucus. Can't remember having eaten this. It's an Artocarpus, a jackfruit relative, so the fruits should be edible. Maybe I have even eaten it, but not identified it properly. No fruits lying on the ground. It's a pity. Now here you have the names of the plants ready-made, but we are not really in the fruit season. Pity, pity, pity. Yep, this is how this beautiful asbestos bridge is being repaired. When a plank breaks, it's being thrown into the swamp, where it will last for thousands of years and break down into more toxic asbestos particles, and then the new ones are being put there. Imagine how many thousands, now tens of thousands of those poisonous planks have been installed here during the last years. Quite a nice government contract. But they should make another much more expensive government contract for recycling this stuff. The trail is climbing one of the low hills here. This is the proper, well, theoretically this is the proper way to build trails here from Balian or ironwood. But people told me that in the last years, like decades ago, ironwood was really cheap basically. Most of the infrastructure of the late 20th century, when they cut on the huge jungles in Borneo, was made from ironwood. Then suddenly a couple years ago they noticed that the ironwood is gone. There is no more ironwood. Even the government did not have the capacity to get enough ironwood to repair all their wooden structures. They basically last a generation or two, but not forever. It's wood after all, and then you are in deep, juicy trouble, head first. Then you replace it with toxic asbestos planks. What is this? Good-sized fruit. Actually, there is an even bigger somewhere down here. There are some signs on this tree. Hopea beccarina, Strombosia ceylanica, and Gubdarante fargufar or something. This could be the fruit of one of those. The caves under a lot of those rocks. I remember that there were some pretty big bats in one of those caves. We saw them on a night walk. Gifera torquenda, Assam Kamantan is the local name. Which way they use here? Pau? Assam Pau? I thought Assam Pau. Was it different? Was it Mangifera pentandra or something like this? I'm pretty sure it's Mangifera torquenda is Assam Kamantan. Well, ancient mango tree with a bole well over a meter thick. Unfortunately, also a valuable timber tree. When people are talking about lowland dipterocarp forest, the dominant forest in Borneo, talking as far as I know about the relatives of this here. Dipterocarp means 2 wings. This has 5 wings. There are also plants with 4 wings around here, but I think most of them are related. I don't know which species this is. If you know which one it is, please comment. Here is one with the bigger seed. A lot of the seeds of those dipterocarps are very valuable, of course for wildlife, but also for humans. They extract valuable oils from them. So folks, if you know what exact species this is, please comment. Oh, and also don't just write the name in the comments, but please also write the exact time when I spotted it in the video, because if you comment on that, for example, a year later, on a video that's about an hour long, I don't really know which exact plant you mean. But if you put the time tag into your comments, everybody can click on it and see the species which I show in exactly this time of the video. Look at this beautiful thing. Well, hint, it's probably Dryobalanops aromatica, because around this tree there are thousands of those fruits. Let's see. A little bit aromatic. Smells a bit like pine resin. Also, there is a mushroom here. Oh, wait, I have an idea what this could be. No, it's not what I thought. This is some Boletus relative, but I'm not sure which one. And we're gonna leave it alone. What is this beauty? If you think it looks like a cactus, you are right. It's incredibly spiny. Oh, this is a torture device, folks. Okay, I don't see traces on my fingers, but believe me, those spines are super hard and super sharp. And it totally did hurt my finger. This might be spinier than a durian. And the duri means spine. I think it could be a Fabaceae fruit, and despite it being so spiny, see, it looks like some animal has extracted the seed. Well, a Fabaceae fruit or bean, that's my suggestion. And I think those horrible spines, they ensure that only very specific animals are able to extract the seed. However, this extraction looks pretty destructive. Here is more of those. Here are more of those fruits. They look like cactus pads, and this one has been totally ripped apart. See? What tree are those coming from? Very interesting. An Artocarpus tree. A most certainly edible relative of the jackfruit. And again, some nice person whose parang, I gotta stick where the sun doesn't shine, has chopped it pretty much everywhere. And apparently another nice person, or this could also have been a pig. Come on, let's not accuse anybody without proof. Has removed the label. The label is made of iron wood, so it could survive somewhere here on the jungle floor for decades. But right now I don't find it. I really would like to know what this Artocarpus is, especially since I cannot spot a single fruit on it. By the way, this is quite a nice, high-quality rainforest. A lot of insects and even a couple birds can be heard. A lot of good-sized trees. I haven't seen any invasives I recognize for some time. Actually, the only invasive I saw was the caoutchouc tree. Oh, this tree there in the background could be some durian species, but again I see no fruits on it. Well, very good forest. I am sure that some logging has happened here. We are very close to Kuching and we are very close to the sea. I can hear the waves, so if you chop down a tree here, you basically have to transport it 100 meters and then you can transport it over water. I'm sure some exploitation of this area has happened. In Kuching, basically the exploitation of Sarawak started. That's why this area has almost no juggles left, unlike central or eastern Sarawak. But still, I wanted to remark that this is quite a good quality juggle. I always criticize everything, but from time to time you also need to give credit where credit is due. This looks like a proper juggle, and this sounds like a proper juggle too. Seems like they are pulling water from for the headquarters from here. Two different pipes. Quite old actually. Look at this. This tree basically grew over the pipe. But that means the water here should be quite good. Also, yeah, a lot of sandstone rocks and sand here. That usually gives you a very good water quality. Let's see, if I find a proper source, I might even refill my bottle here. A little fruit on this, what is it? Is it a liliaceae, Syngeberaceae, an orchidaceae? I'm not so sure. All those families are incredibly diverse here with thousands to tens of thousands of species, so they can look quite different. And since this is a national park, I cannot chew on it, which you shouldn't do. They are liliaceae, which are toxic in small amounts, which are deadly in small amounts. Headquarters. This looks like another durian tree, this conspicuous red bark. Also, let's check the water here. Black water again. Those are, oh, look at the beautiful red color, Coca-Cola water. They are peat swamps on the plateaus above us, and that's what basically gives you the red to black color of the water. If there were no peat swamps above us, the water would most probably be clear, transparent. Maaf, orang putih tidak mengerti bahasa Melayu. If they wanted us to obey the signs, they would have written them in English too. Always be careful when something is dangling in your pot in the jungle. Those here are actually quite useful epiphyte roots, which you can make into good quality ropes, but it could also be the leaf of a rotten palm, which will cut you to the bone. It looks nice and harmless, but never underestimate the rotten palm. We only know it as garden furniture, but around here, underestimating the rotten palm is gonna kill you. By the way, while talking, I arrived in the lowlands again, another peat swamp forest here. And since I can hear the sea, here by the way, this ironwood boardwalk could well be older than me. And despite the tropical climate, from time to time you replace one plank. This stuff is very durable. It's not called ironwood for nothing. More pandanus, more Thespasia. Oh, what is this beauty? I hope I don't fall into those. Well, they could be crocodiles here, but the big ones will not be in such a small. I think those are some Fabaceae fruits. If you know what those are, folks, tell me. Some really tough fruits, probably Fabaceae, growing on a thin vine which has already died, so I cannot show you the leaves, but those leaves are not from this plant. The plant where those nuts grown has died already. More valuable foraging resources in this open area here. Ferns, paku. Those are already quite old fronds, but you break off this small, still uprolled part. With this one you can break a little bit more, maybe up to 6-7 centimeters. This is a staple food around here. You cook them like spinach. Here we have an even younger one. Here you can break off maybe 10 centimeters. Here you can break also about 10 centimeters. This is, in some rural areas, people eat this almost daily. a very valuable resource and also very common, because everywhere where you chop down the jungle, this fern spreads. There are some other edible ferns too, but this is the most common edible fern around here. As I said, very valuable resource. You have this at the cooking pot. You also have a dinner. Might not be the most nutritious dinner, but foragers can be choosers. And the pandanus are very drought resistant. They can grow on hot, dry sand dunes and also on top of this rock. Also, yeah, don't let Mr. Crocodile eat you. Around here, this is really a significant danger. There are two animals in the world that consider humans as food, as nothing else. One is the polar bear, which doesn't live so close to the equator. And the other one is the saltwater crocodile. Lions, tigers, wolves and so on, usually they will not eat humans. They don't consider humans as food except in exceptional cases. But yeah, polar bears and saltwater crocodiles totally will. So stay away from the water. It's so murky, you don't see the crocodile, but rest assured it does see you. Here we have another incredibly valuable resource in those jungle areas. Pitcher plants. They are not called pitcher plants for nothing. Those pitchers are full with water. And of course they are not made for storing water. They are made for capturing insects. So this open pitcher will have some insects inside, so it will not be too pleasant to drink from it. You have to find a pitcher which is still enclosed, like this tiny one. And of course you have to find a sizable pitcher which is still closed. If you are lucky, each pitcher which will give you about 1, 2 or 3 cubic centimeters of water, which might be not much, but in such an area where all the water is either salty or black water. Of course I could go up the hill and find a tiny little creek which is not black water and drink the water from there, but if I did not have those hills made of good sandstone rock, the pitcher plants would be my best bet. Here I'm seeing a small plant with small fruits on it. I don't know what it is, but it looks like it could be edible. If I could identify it, and if I wasn't in a national park, I would maybe eat it, but not now. I saw this place on the aerial photograph and it looked very eerie. I wondered what it was. It looked like kind of a mangrove. But what killed all this mangrove? Only the part that's far away from the sea survived. Everything that was closer to the sea died. Maybe it got buried under sand or something. It's already recovering. There are young mangroves sprouting up everywhere. But what killed this mangrove? We assume since we are in the national park, it wasn't any human activity, but something natural. So please give me some suggestions. Those piles of trash are also a very valuable foraging resource. Of course you can forage plastic bags, bottles and flip-flops and everything else. You can also forage some animal parts and of course Z-beans, which is a term for all types of fruits, mostly seeds which come by the sea. Here a horseshoe crab. This is considered the oldest living fossil. When the first dinosaur developed, this thing was already more ancient than the dinosaurs are nowadays. What do we have here? Barnacles. Oh yeah. This is Darwin's bane. He was afraid of them and he hated them like hell. Well, here another horseshoe crab. As I said, incredibly old. This species basically has not changed in 500 million years. Yeah, this is so much older than the dinosaurs. It is edible, and also its blood, it has blue blood like a real noble who has a whose ancestry can be traced back 500 million years. It has blue blood, and its blue blood is the most expensive material on earth. More expensive than gold, more expensive than any rare metal, more expensive than moon rocks, more expensive than any drug. But right now we are not after its blood, neither are we after its meat. We are after something which we can use to make spears, and that's exactly the part that's missing in those two specimens. A coconut, also a very valuable resource. In the time when the beaches were not covered with plastic waste, this was one of the easiest ways to get a nice useful bowl. This could even have been used as a bowl. It was cut in half very neatly, but it's already broken, so not really usable as a bowl anymore. A nipa palm fruit. This is the most common palm in mangrove areas. It's a palm without a stem. The fruits have edible seeds inside. You can also eat the buds, and you can also use the leaves, just like pandanus leaves or coconut leaves or other palm leaves, to wrap your food. Very valuable resource. However, this one here is already too old. I don't think you can use it for anything. And here another half of a coconut which has been foraged by somebody already. Okay, I'm close enough to the water now. Don't go closer, because as I said, there are only two animals in the world which see humans as food, and one of them lives right here. I'm a vegetarian, so I'll leave this crab which lives inside this old snail. I let it live. Lots of oysters on those cliffs, yeah. The coast is always a very important area for foraging. You can forage the resources of the sea, the resources of the land, and also coastal resources, which you'll find only in coastal areas. Especially right here, when you have a hill. Oh, hi, buddy, running away from me. Especially here, when you have a hill with good high-quality water sources, which we still have to locate. This has basically been top real estate, prime real estate for millions of years for humans, and before that for other hominids. This is one of the best areas for foraging and survival in the world, if you know how. I thought those are durian peels, but actually it's Coeleostegia, the durian relative, of which we don't still know if it's edible or not. Also, pigs are of course a very valuable resource for survival if you are not a vegetarian like me, and if you are brave enough to hunt those 200-300 kilograms bearded pigs around here. They certainly are brave enough to hunt you. I have actually a video where I peacefully try to eat my bambagan mango in this national park. It got stalked by a giant wild boar around here. No, wild boar lady around here. Yeah. So, wild pigs. Make from them what you want. Soup, stew, fried pig. But be careful, because they might forage you before you forage them. Who made this big pile of earth here? Something which is digging in the ground. And since we are in a coastal sandy area, it could be some type of crab. A lot of non-vegetarian people would try to forage the animal that made this mound. Oh yeah, and I know it's called hunting when it's about animals, but since I am a fruit hunter, for me everything is foraging. Good that I did some foraging in one of the local food courts earlier. Remember, this is a national park, so even if I find edible resources, I cannot just forage my way through this area. Also, I did hunt some rambai and tons of other fruits on Satok weekend market. Taking another trail, Ulu Assam viewpoint. Ulu Assam literally means sour hill. Well, Assam is the name they give to different sour fruits around here, mostly wild mangoes. So you could translate the name of this hill also as Wild Mango Tree Hill. Well, that sounds good. Also here we have those seeds again. Let's see if they are more aromatic. Oh yeah, nice and flavorful. A lot like pine. A lot like pine. Also, I think the bat cave was over there, but I gotta leave those bodies alone. I think they're being disturbed during every guided tour because the guides won't show some bats. And the bats, they might be a little bit used to that, but not used enough. Now, what is this fruit here? Looks like some fagaceae fruit, some beech and oak relative. Maybe it even has edible acorn-like fruits, but I don't know. Another nice and yummy blackwater river. I think that's where I hunted fish and shrimps with the IBAN guides. Actually, they did let us try to catch fish and shrimps because nobody ever managed to catch anything. I'm afraid that after I came to this park, they kind of slightly restricted this activity. A small creek with clear water coming down from the hills. Also, you know what's funny? Even in the smallest creek, there are fish and shrimps. So this water is no black water, theoretically drinkable. However, I cannot find any fish and shrimps right now. Oops, no, that was a water insect. No fish, no shrimp. Melastomateishi. Those are good and important resources. Whenever you recognize a melastomateishi by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or sometimes 7 main veins, usually the berries are edible and usually the plant is very anti-inflammation, so you can basically use it whenever you got some sort of inflammation, some trouble. Also here, this could be a small Bako. Could also be a small, what do you call it, sea grape relative, not sure. I'm pretty sure this is edible and I'm pretty sure some animal has thrown it down from the tree. No, this is where the bat cave was. Or was this the bat cave? Well, if you've read Tom Sawyer, you know that bats are a valuable resource. And if you just want to stop the world, turn it off and restart it again, you just need to eat a bowl of tasty bat soup. Around here, bats are a very traditional, very common meal. And actually, my friends complained to me one of the reasons we've had such bad durian harvests in the last years was, or is, because people have eaten most of the bats. Bats are very important pollinators for durian. Some big fruit here. Parts of some big fruit. What? We cannot ID it from the parts, but, well, anyway, like those people are very short-sighted because one bat can feed one man, but can pollinate 10,000 durians, and those can feed 10,000 men. And I think here we have some tampoi, some Bako, or it could be some Garcinia. I actually found an edible Garcinia here in the park. However, those fruits are really big. Donut-shaped fruits. No, I think now it's rather a Garcinia. a tasty edible mangosteen relative. Let's see if we can spot the fruits. Nope. But anyways, usually those monkeys and birds, they show you where the resources are. But usually those are resources which you can not access without the climbing skills of a monkey. Just like those garcinias, if they are so high that I cannot even see them from the ground, there is no way for me to get them except if the monkey or a storm drop them. Incredibly beautiful places here. It's so sad to think that basically all of Borneo looked like something like this. And here we have fishies. A little bit too small for dinner, but wherever there are tiny ones, there are also bigger ones. And the bigger ones usually come out at night.